All right, you and I are about to watch the ultimate gaming rivalry get real. He wakes up as his character and discovers he is actually engaged. His rival is now his bride. These two must work together for survival. Now they must cooperate to stop a catastrophe. Our journey starts years ago. Legend of Heroes 2 was a hit, and even now, players remain obsessed. The main character enters the Hall of Honor just as rankings are updating. It was a big day. Suddenly, he spots two girls watching from nearby. A catgirl named Romantic Cat asks him if he's taking first place again. First as usual, Outboxer, no changes today, but then the other girl speaks. The girl next to her is Yellowstorm, who plays Cordelia Chase. She was determined and declared that today she would finally claim top rank. The hero just looks at her with total indifference and says be humble. He strikes a genius pose, telling her she's destined to stay second place. That is 21 months now. It must be tough trying to catch me. She screams that things will change, but he doesn't even bother arguing back. He just keeps boasting. Then, the system finally announces the new monthly rankings. Outboxer takes first again. That makes 23 months of total dominance. Yellowstorm takes second again for the 22nd time. The hero starts smirking. She starts panicking, wondering if he is hacking or using cheap cheats. She begins a swearing spree, but the system instantly censors her toxic words. The catgirl warns her to chill before she gets a permanent chat ban. You cannot act like that. Suddenly, a notification pops up on screen. A system alert shows both top players have logged out at once. Now pay attention, because this isn't a logout, it's a new beginning. They both enter the world of pleats. Waking up, the main character gasps. He struggles for air, wondering where he is and what this place is. Feeling a massive headache, he stumbles from his chair toward the mirror. He stares in shock. This is literally his character from the game world. But he looks incredibly young. He wonders if the reflection is truly him. He wonders if it's real when a massive headache suddenly hits him. Memories surface. Pleiades was the fantasy setting from Legend of Heroes 2. It is a world of endless war, with kingdoms fighting for survival. Angels and demons are descending as the truth finally sinks in. You and I know the drill. He realizes he's trapped in the game. He's now a younger, much weaker version of his original game character. He is now a swordsman and noble son from the respected Bale family. As he stares at the mirror, a knock comes asking to enter. The visitor calls him young master, leaving our hero in total shock. With no response, the visitor enters to find their master looking lost. This is Maya, the personal maid. She apologizes for the sudden intrusion. Since he didn't answer, she thought he was gone. He struggles to remember. He clears his throat and asks her purpose, trying to stay calm. He has zero clue what is happening, but must keep his cover. He asks why she's here, trying to hide the fact he's totally lost. And just like that, you and I are about to meet the rival bride. All right, stick with me. We're starting with a visit that's got Jude trembling like a leaf. He'd never even dated anyone before, and suddenly, he's got himself a whole fiancée. Down in the living room, a girl was already complaining about how slow he was. She was tired of waiting. Turns out, his fiancée is the daughter of the Chase family. Specifically, the magician Cordelia Chase. In their old game, she was the legendary Yellowstorm. Knowing Cordelia was his fiancée totally freaked him out, but he tried to stay positive. He needed to analyze the situation. Understanding his reality was priority number one. It'd be huge if Cordelia really was Yellowstorm. Finally, he entered the living room. Time to introduce himself. Nice to meet you, I'm Tox. Wait, no, I'm the second son. The Bale's Jude Bale. He watched her closely, waiting for any kind of reaction. The moment their eyes met, total shock, both of them just froze up. Watch closely, they both shout together, "Why are you here too?" They were beyond stunned and embarrassed. Jude forced himself to think. He needed a logical explanation. Sure, Cordelia was Jude's fiancée, but what about the gamer? The name Yellowstorm was stuck in his head. Was it really his old rival? The maid just stared at him. She wondered if the young master was already completely smitten. They sat down together, awkward as ever. Jude decided it was time to test her. He locked eyes with her and whispered, "Hi, yellow." He even said it twice. But zero reaction. If there was a hole in the floor, Jude would have dived in. Embarrassing, but he didn't give up. Since others were watching, he had to be subtle. He needed a way to talk to her privately. Still convinced she was Yellow Storm, he tried. He spoke clearly and used the game's secret co-op initiation code. Left side of the entrance, column 9 at 9 o'clock. She reacted instantly. It was pure game code, 12-hour startup, left side of entrance, column 9. At 9 o'clock, she understood it all. Jude just watched her reaction. You and I both know that look. She definitely caught his hidden game message. Cordelia stood up from the couch immediately. She called out, "Let's go, Dahlia." Her personal guard was totally lost. She didn't have a clue what was happening. Cordelia was already halfway out the door. The guard rushed after her, calling out. Before she left, Jude shouted, "I can't wait to meet again, Miss Cordelia." His maid looked at him in total confusion. Jude just brushed it all off. It was nothing, he said. Secretly, he was losing his mind over this realization. Everything about her attitude screamed Yellow Storm. Later that night, in the freezing garden. Jude was shivering in the northern cold. Even in summer, this place is brutal. He waited and wondered if she'd actually make it. Then, he saw her approaching. A hooded figure appeared in the distance. He called out her name, Yellow Storm. She lowered her hood and glared at him. She spoke one name, Outboxer. Outboxer, he walked closer and asked, "Should I tell you what I'm thinking?" She cut him off, "Don't say it, I think I already know." "You too?" he asked. She just looked at him and said, "Yeah, me too." They finally stopped messing around and started talking seriously about their situation. She asked him when he woke up. Jude didn't know the exact time. Maybe 2 days ago. He didn't remember the details clearly at all. Cordelia wondered why he was so uncertain. Jude asked if she remembered his body. And that's where we leave it. Trust me, his blocked veins change everything. All right, stick with me as we dive into a world where reality and gaming collide. Jude's body is paper-thin and he can't use mana. He was out cold recently. He was babbling nonsense while unconscious. That explains why your timeline is so fuzzy right now. Cordelia finally catches on, but she's fuming. Are you even feeling well at this moment? I came the second you asked. Do you know how hard sneaking out is? A girl like me hiding from her parents is tough. Why didn't you visit me? He replies, how could I? With my pathways blocked, I can't even hop a fence. Then he asks her, since when did you become a woman? She looks ready to kill. Since birth, you psycho, he's stunned. Yellow Storm was a girl this entire time. He's speechless. She just never mentioned it because she didn't think it was important. Look at you, you're a guy, but you're so weak you don't even look like it. I'm definitely a man, just sick. He quickly switches the subject right now. Jude had another reason for calling. Count Bile is currently away on a dangerous mission. He took all the guards with him. The mansion is basically empty right now. That lowers the risk of getting caught, but Cordelia starts wondering about his memories. How did you even see them leave? She begins to explain the truth of this world. You basically become the character you played. First, it feels just like entering a game. But then, your old life starts feeling like the life of the Outboxer himself. Now here's the part where you and I realize this is getting way too real. Your memories and the life of Jude Bale don't even clash anymore, do they? It happened to me too. Calling Duke Chase father actually feels completely natural now. Your memories and the life of Jude Bale don't even seem to clash anymore, do they? It happened to me too. Calling Duke Chase father actually feels completely natural now. You even called Count Bile your own dad. This isn't just a simple game. This world is our new reality. The main character is completely spooked by this. They didn't just enter a game. This world is now their one and only reality. He realizes how dangerous this is. There's no way to ever go back home again. She confirms his worst fear. Worst of all, they're stuck in this doomed world. This world is doomed for destruction. Still, Jude thinks the vibe isn't that bad. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is he actually laughing in a situation like this? Cordelia is fuming. How can you be smiling when we were both weak characters? He reminds her they were just starter characters, a warrior and a mage together. Then she starts laughing too. It means we won't have trouble splitting the loot. For hardcore gamers, that's the best news. The two decide to form an official party. Cordelia hasn't been in a party for 5 years. This will be her first one. Waking up in a game is wild, but partying with the runner-up is just annoying. He jokes about being stuck with the person who is always second best in rankings. What did you just say? She's clearly annoyed by his sudden cocky attitude. He dodges her quickly. Look, given the situation, it's better to cooperate with me. She keeps coming at him anyway. What did you say? Say it to my face. He tells her to calm down and just listen to his new plan carefully. We can fix these blocked pathways way faster if this is actually reality. If they find an item full of pure yang energy, he'll be able to heal instantly. He can clear the blocked paths instantly. She says it depends on that one item. Trust me, you and I are about to see if they find that rare item nearby. Trust me, you're about to see how 2 level 1 characters outsmart a god-tier world. Cordelia mulled over his words. A special item, then it hit her like a truck. She suddenly screamed the sun necklace. Are you insane? That is a drop from Lizen. How are we supposed to take down a mid-level boss at our pathetic starting stats? They were barely level 1. Jude just looked at her and said, yes, absolutely. He already had a master plan. Curious, she asked him, what is this magic solution? He paused, then dropped the bombshell. He wanted to take her on a date. A carriage ride and a romantic date. That was his genuine solution to their problem. The next morning, a white carriage pulled by shiny black horses entered the flower forest. They came to a halt and the door swung open. Cordelia and Jude stepped out. She remarked on the beautiful weather, and he replied it was a perfect day. They kept up the sweet talk, acting like this trip was a dream come true. They had to play the perfect couple for the servants watching from a safe distance. Our main character spotted a garden and led Cordelia away from the prying eyes nearby. Watch closely, this is where their little act starts falling apart behind the scenes. Cordelia hissed that she hated this. He told her to curse all she wanted quietly. He warned her to keep a steady pace so they wouldn't look suspicious while escaping. Cordelia sighed heavily. She needed to know the plan for that boss. How could level 1s capture Lizigan and snag the sun necklace without getting wiped out? The necklace of the sun is a legendary item that can suppress any evil power. It belongs to the Red Moon Lysigan, a monster locked within a hidden temple. This beast is sealed deep inside the Balalkan Mountains. Jude calmly gave his surprising answer. He never actually said anything about fighting or capturing the monster in combat. Confused, she asked what the plan was then. He told her not to worry. I have my ways, he said. Then he asked if she brought the items. Cordelia nodded. Hiding that gear under her dress was an absolute nightmare for her. He called her his reliable yellow storm, making her glare at him with pure fire. She snapped that she wasn't his anything. Just tell me how we do this now. He pointed at a cliff, saying the path matched the secret area from the game. Once they reached the edge, her job was to carry him and jump off together. Cordelia was baffled. The temple only appears if you walk through the flower beds below. Let's pause. Do you think jumping off a cliff is a shortcut or just suicide? Jude asked if she ever used the Western shortcut in the game. She went silent. Shocked by the news, she tried to act cool and said she already knew. I was just testing you, idiot. She was a terrible liar and he knew it. They could take the long way, but the maids wouldn't be able to keep up. Since the maids can't use magic, they'd just be a liability on the dangerous path. It was too risky, so Jude proposed they leave behind a bit of clever insurance. She asked what kind of insurance he meant. He gave her a look. First, he made her promise to listen to the whole plan without hitting him once. She agreed to only hit him mentally. He leaned in and whispered the final part. After we jump, we are going to use the fact that we are engaged. Hearing the full plan, she absolutely lost it. Her face turned red with pure shock. No way, are you insane? I am definitely not doing something that embarrassing or crazy. So what do you think? Is this plan brilliant or just pure madness? All right, let's jump into how these maids are starting to notice something fishy. Cordelia tries hard to think of a lie, but she's honestly terrible at it. Giving up, she agrees to follow Jude's plan, and they hold hands to begin. Dolly and Mai see them from afar, heading straight toward the cliff's edge. They scream out, but Cordelia just grabs our main character and leaps right off. Now pay attention here. We finally see who's really in charge of this relationship. She casts a wind spell to ensure a perfectly safe landing for them. Her guard cries out, warning them that the area ahead is way too dangerous. Cordelia freezes up, but Jude tells her to speak up right now. With all her might, she yells at her guard while dying of embarrassment. She shouts that she wants to be alone for a while with her man. She promises he's a knight, and they'll definitely be back before dinner time. Daria is stunned, wondering how she got so close to Jude Bale so quickly. She insists on following them, but Maya steps in to stop the guard. Maya puts a hand on her shoulder and says Jude has a knightly conduct. The couple runs away, as Daria yells about them, only guessing he's a knight. After running for a bit, a furious Cordelia asks why she did that. She even had to carry him, which was an immense blow to her pride. Our main character reminds her his 9 paths are blocked, making him helpless. He even shows off his skinny arms to emphasize just how weak he is. She's so mad, she can barely wait for him to finally be healed up. Jude remembers his own shame when Maya watched him write that date letter. He claims it wasn't so bad since she yelled at them both. You and I saw that coming. They start arguing about who's more embarrassed. They've been walking for 10 minutes when the main character suddenly just collapses. He's totally exhausted and can't even walk for more than a few minutes. Cordelia stares at the guy who promised he would lead the way. Realizing he's spent, she asks if he's actually going to be okay or not. He admits he's not okay and blames his blocked paths for being so fragile. He actually has the nerve to ask her to carry him the rest. She points to a nearby grave and tells him to just rest there. He snaps back that he's definitely not dying yet as they enter. Now inside the cave, Cordelia carries Jude on her back while questioning directions. It honestly looks like she's lugging around a corpse in the dark. Suddenly, a bright light hits their eyes as they reach the end. They've finally arrived at the legendary temple of the sun god today. In the game, Lassigan was sealed here after a battle with paladins. Jude asks Cordelia if she can feel the strange energy here. She recalls the game dialogue describing the intense divine power within the temple. Now that she's here, she can feel that holy sensation for herself. It feels as if her entire heart is being completely purified. Jude looks at her and is stunned by her beautiful smile. It felt like an impressive dream until he returned to reality. He wonders why his heart is suddenly beating so fast. And that's where we leave it, as they head toward the boss. All right, you and I are about to dive into a massive boss fight. Jude was still recovering. He thought his heart raced because Cordelia was beautiful. She looked up. This was just like the game. The hall hid secrets. They were about to face a demon that took a legendary effort to seal. Was there any way to win? Jude said yes and asked for her supplies. She nodded and started lifting her dress. She had everything hidden under there. Totally ashamed, she pleaded, "Don't look. If you turn around, I'll literally kill you." She pulled out paper, red vials, a brush, and an ink pen. Jude stared. He was impressed. She fit so much under that skirt, she really went all out. She demanded a proper thank you. Jude agreed. He couldn't do this alone. Even making a single potion was a massive hurdle for him right now. Cordelia looked satisfied and told him to keep going. She didn't mind the work. He joked that the blessing she gave a lowly guy like him was immeasurable. Now pay attention, because this is where the real action finally starts. Jude picked up the brush, its tip wet with the crimson potion. Finally, showtime. Finally, it was time to show off. He drew the magic circle for Lizigan. Cordelia watched him. That was the legendary Velasting magic circle he was drawing. That was the legendary Velasting magic circle, a true barrier masterpiece. One wrong move meant failing to trap the demon. They had 3 minutes. But since it scales with the target, it's the ultimate demon confinement tool. Cordelia was stunned. How did he memorize something that incredibly complex? Jude stood up, he finally finished the drawing and told her it was time. "What, my turn?" she asked. Jude was tired of explaining every little thing. He asked if she even knew what he just drew. She snapped back. Of course she knew. Fine, then you know how to activate it too, right? Cordelia replied, obviously, do you think I'm stupid? But she had no idea. I think you and I both know she's totally faking it here. He explained that because of his weak health, he couldn't trigger the circle. She had to do it, but being level 1 made this extremely difficult. They'd use the magic, flowing through the sun god seal to activate it fully. This meant summoning the demon's true body within the temple for a while. Cordelia agreed and grabbed the knife. A drop of blood was needed for activation. She cut her finger and the blood hit the circle. It began to glow. Strong red gusts exploded around them. The entire temple started shaking. Jude asked if she was okay. She could feel the mana becoming denser. Currents of energy appeared as a red darkness swallowed the sky. Solari's seal was about to break. A chained, red-winged demon appeared. That was definitely the monster the Sun Paladins had sealed ages ago. Jude saw the circle was working. Lizigan was already being bound in chains. But seeing that beast, Jude felt he'd be crushed by the pressure. A red-winged chained demon appeared. That was without a doubt the real deal. This was the demon sealed long ago by the Paladins of the Sun. The circle worked perfectly, and Lizigan was finally chained up tight. But facing that monster, Jude felt like he'd be crushed by the pressure. Trust me, you and I are about to see a legendary showdown. Stick with me, Cordelia is practically sparkling with pure excitement. This was the exact boss she used to farm on her computer, seeing it live. She was loving it, pointing right at the monster's waist. Look, Jude, the necklace. Get it for us, but I can't even jump a cliff, he said, terrified. Is this girl insane? He thought, but she was already deep in the zone. Use my staff to grab it. Go on, take advantage while he is still down. Jude took the staff and edged toward the boss. It definitely beat using hands. Cordelia remained totally pumped, screaming at him to hurry up and grab the loot. Our main character was almost there, but then the atmosphere shifted in an instant. Watch this part, a massive shadow suddenly snatched away every bit of their joy. Lizigan, the Crimson Moon demon, finally woke up, glaring at them with pure fury. But before the demon could strike, Jude hooked the sun necklace and they bolted. The boss was absolutely livid, screaming after them, "You miserable little insects." The roar was so powerful, the entire temple started to tremble and shake. Jude ended up face-planting hard. With his illness, he had no way to defend. He looked at the beast. Even sealed, that pressure was still heavy and terrifying. Faced with that immense power, Jude simply could not find the strength to rise. Cordelia shouted, "You are still chained up and can't even move. Take that, bum." She triggered a magic circle and rained down a barrage of missiles at its face. The main character was stunned. After that provocation, they were definitely dead meat. "Are you high? Why would you provoke him like that?" he yelled in panic. Suddenly, something caught his eye, level-up effects appearing around her. It was unbelievable. Lizigan was supposed to be a top-tier boss. Normally, they would not even be able to touch him without getting wiped out. But thanks to that magic circle shortcut, the impossible became very possible today. Dealing just 1 damage was enough to level up against such a massive threat. The level gap was so huge that every little hit gave them massive experience. You saw that, right? These two calculated the gains and smiled like total pros. To them, this was not a demon anymore, just a giant pile of experience. The great demon roared in absolute rage. How dare these weaklings treat me so? He kept taking magic missiles to the face, as Cordelia refused to stop firing. She was smiling the entire time, looking like a total psycho while blasting away. She was originally going to run, but realized the tables had completely turned. Even Jude was impressed. She was hitting everything except the chains holding him. This girl has some seriously scary aim, he thought, watching the constant explosions. The furious demon kept calling them weaklings, demanding respect in his grand presence. Jude finally stood up and started yelling back at the trapped boss monster. "Shut up, I am going to level up too. Experience points do not talk." You just take the hits. With the sun necklace, he began casting a spell. He was trying to break the 9 yin paths, blockade with the sun god. By the power of Solari, I have the strength. The light started glowing. Even after the breakthrough, he still could not cast magic as well as Cordelia. So, the only option left was to use the necklace as a literal weapon. He slowly approached, glanced to the side, and just chucked the item at him. Trust me, you and I just witnessed the ultimate gamer disrespect. All right, stick with me. There is only 1 minute left before the demon's seal expires. It was their golden ticket for some easy leveling before time finally ran out. They started attacking. Cordelia fired magic missiles while Jude kept spamming that magic necklace. Lizigan snarled that he had memorized their faces and branded their souls forever. He swore that once he broke free, he would make them suffer immense, agonizing pain. Before he could even finish his monologue, another magic missile hit him dead center. Absolutely fuming, the demon screamed that he would kill these mere extras once and for all. Now pay attention, because right as the clock hit 0, the seal dragged the beast back down. Our main characters just thanked him for being a useful punching bag for their level grind. They waved goodbye, promising to visit again soon before the ritual finally ended. The seal closed, and the temple went quiet. Cordelia just smiled and told Jude, "I knew it already, but you are totally insane." Honestly, she was even crazier. After that one-sided beatdown, the main character draped his arms around her neck. She glared at him, asking what he was doing and if he wanted a slap. Jude just begged for a second of support. His legs were shaking after the fight. Walking was a struggle. Cordelia admitted this was better than having to carry him home. Once they finally made it back that night, the hammer dropped and they were punished. They were grounded, 10 whole days without leaving the house for any reason at all. Laying in bed, Jude replayed his training. 10 laps around the area was brutal work. He never thought running would be this exhausting, but he looked at his magic necklace. His body was clearly improving because of its power. Before this, he could barely stand. You see it too, he is weak. If this world is actually legit, they must survive the end of Legend of Heroes 2. When the angels and demons finally arrive during the chaos of Armageddon itself. But for that goal to happen, a weakling and a 1-star mage aren't enough. Jude knew that no matter how rushed they were, they needed to master the basics. He could not do it alone though. Cordelia was his most vital partner. They needed to get strong, just like the legendary versions of their characters from the game. Still stuck in bed, he realized their house arrest would be over in 3 days. It was time to prep for the future and find a way to contact her. Suddenly, Cordelia felt a cold shiver. She wondered where that bad vibe came from. She just knew that bastard Jude was plotting something crazy again. She could feel it. A knock on the door broke her thoughts. It was Daria, her very own bodyguard. She announced with a huge smile that a love letter from Master Jude had arrived. Cordelia was confused, asking her bodyguard why she looked so incredibly hyped about it. Dalia insisted this was the best news she had heard in a long time. Daria assumed she was eating because she missed seeing her fiancé so much lately. But really, she just finally had the gold to buy all these sweet treats. Dalia even apologized for losing her cool during their very last couples meeting. She was there to protect her, but she ended up just being worried instead. The guard was happy the young lady finally found someone she could really trust. She mentioned that the maid Maya had taught her something very important that day. The book showed a romantic scene. The main character angrily wondered about that maid. She wondered what the maid said as Daria handed over Jude's letter to her. And trust me, you and I are both dying to know what that letter says. All right, you and I are about to watch a love note turn into something else. Cordelia crunched the paper, cringing. What on earth is this garbage? She wondered in total disgust. Her guard thinks it is romance, but our main character knows better. There is definitely a catch. She scans for a secret message, checking the first letter of every line to see if there is a code. Suddenly, she spots it. The hidden text grabs her attention, and it is pretty interesting. The note holds a mysterious clue, with the very end written in plain Korean. It says 2 days later, at 1400 hours, in the Varuna Temple confessional booth. Varuna is the god of secrets and the guardian of the hidden veil across this world. These temples are everywhere, serving as the perfect place to leak anything from small gossip to state secrets. Because of the divine protection, it is an impeccable spot for a meeting that absolutely must stay off the radar. She checks for anything else hidden, a perfect, silent meeting spot. Now, pay attention here, because she is trying to figure out his real game. He is not just mocking her or asking for forgiveness. That dork is up to something much bigger. If he wanted to outplay her, he would not just invite her out like this. She tells Dahlia the plan. She agrees to meet young Master Jude Bale at the temple in 2 days. Dahlia is totally shocked. Oh my, a date on the very first day you are allowed out. Your mistress is truly moving fast. It seems young Master Jude is just as desperate to see you as you are to see him, mistress. Cordelia is annoyed. She knows that gamer dork only wants to talk about leveling up his character stats. Dahlia is hyped, promising to make sure the two of them get some private alone time. Do not worry, mistress. I will keep the guards away so you two can enjoy your little secret date. Cordelia just thanks her, feeling too exhausted and lazy to even try explaining the truth to her maid. Back in the city, she is finally ready to board the carriage heading for the temple. The guard tells her to enjoy the trip and promises to stay back for their cozy little meeting. Cordelia thanks them and heads off, while Dahlia yells out some embarrassing stuff about their lovey-dovey romantic date. I will follow in 30 minutes. Have fun on your date, Dahlia screams as she leaves. Cordelia is fuming. This is not a date at all. It is just a simple co-op mission. You and I both know she is just trying to convince herself at this point. She repeats it twice. This is purely professional, just a cooperative mission, nothing more. Inside the temple, someone calls out to her. She steps in and finds him waiting there. Jude Bale is already sitting there, looking perfectly calm and ready for her arrival. She stares him down, asking how he managed to snag a private confessional. Did he find a glitch or something? Jude just gives her a smug, confident smile. He did not need a glitch for this. He used cold hard cash. Being the son of a count definitely has its perks, you know. Cordelia warns him that his family would lose it if they saw him spending money like this. He is not worried, though. His parents are still away on an expedition, so he is safe. She asks why he called her. He mentions a special secret event. She is confused, but he explains that this specific info is not written down anywhere online. Not even the Legends of Heroes forums have a single mention of what is happening. He is the only one who knows the truth, because he gatekeeps the info he works hard to find. He is not about to tell the whole world the secrets he spent hours grinding to discover. Cordelia is shocked. You did not post anything at all on the main strategy forums. He says he did post, but only the basic stuff that every casual player already knew. Suddenly she screams out, "I knew you were hiding something from me." She is furious, finally realizing why she could never beat his high scores back in the real world. And trust me, you and I are just beginning to see how far his schemes go. All right, you and I are about to see what Cordelia finds hidden here. She remembers the necklace from the Lizigan fight and expects something similar. He gives a mysterious smile, saying this mission isn't just for him. Deep in the temple library, a dungeon book is waiting for both of them. He reveals the prize, a dungeon book that teleports the user straight inside. One touch and you're gone. Sometimes it's a simulation, sometimes it's real. Clearing this dungeon grants a skill book for both martial arts and magic. Jude hasn't finished this as a mage, so her reward is a mystery. Cordelia is hooked. She asks if even he hasn't managed to beat it. He confirms it. She'll be the first mage to ever clear this temple simulation. Being the first ever, that sparkle in her eyes says she's ready for it. He explains she'll be the first to conquer the Varuna Temple's simulated dungeon. Cordelia smiles. She's going to be the first one to finish. The first, huh? She says with a sparkle in her eyes. Next, she asks exactly where the mysterious book is hidden. Watch this, she's hyped and ready for the adventure to finally begin. He points to the side, having grabbed the book before she arrived. Cordelia is shocked. Talk about efficiency, as expected from a pro like him. Let's head in, he says. Meanwhile, she guards the temple. Suddenly, a strange light flickers. She curiously moves closer to investigate the glow. The book begins to glow intensely, filling the entire room with magic. Then they enter the world of the book. Cordelia feels totally unwell. Her head hurts, and the magical teleportation makes her feel incredibly nauseous. Beside her, Jude asks if she's okay. She snaps back that she isn't. She's annoyed he looks so normal while her world is spinning. He suggests patting her back to help, and she finally feels better. They're in the dungeon book now, a place identical to the game. Jude mentions that since this is a simulation, if they die, they just leave. Now pay attention. He calls it comforting, but Cordelia is not having it. They just get kicked out of the book, comforting, not to her. Indignant, Cordelia declares she's rank 2 and will clear this first try. She demands he stops saying discouraging things. Pain still feels real here. Realistic experience without death is a complete win in his eyes. Cordelia agrees and asks if his path-blocking skills are actually improving. He says it's progressing bit by bit, especially with her right beside him. Intrigued, she asks why he's including her in his progress update. He prefers analyzing variables and items over just mindless hunting. He is the planner type. She's the queen of battles who gets points just by dealing damage. In raw monster kills, Yellowstorm is twice as fast as Outboxer. She knows it's true, that's why he brought the book only he found. He notes she's the queen of battles, earning points just by dealing damage. He admits that if they only counted monster kills, she's clearly on top. Yellowstorm is twice as fast as Outboxer, and she knows it's true. Trust me, you and I should watch this book only he could find. Knowing his limits, Jude suggests she take the lead and carry him in combat. Cordelia agrees, feeling confident because of the secret magic gear she brought for him. She tells him to turn his back. When he looks again, he sees magic stones. Previously, she could only use basic magic missiles, but things are going to be different now. Excited, she reveals she had these stones hidden since the moment he called her. She predicted they would need them. These weren't just any ordinary magic stones either. These were high-level tools made by her father, a legendary North power. He founded the famous Chase House of Mages. Jude sarcastically says he feels safe. He thinks these stones are her ace cards and asks if he feels safer. Seeing her reveal everything, Jude knows she is the infamous player from the forums. Stick with me, because she asks if he finally feels safe with her help. Seeing her reveal everything, Jude finally realizes exactly who she really is. She is actually the legendary Yellow Storm from the Legend of Heroes forum. Jude pulls out magic scrolls from his bag and offers them to Cordelia. They are 1-star circles with lightning and light attributes. She is shocked by the complexity. She asks if he made them. He explains he couldn't just stand around doing nothing. He created magic scrolls with various attributes that they can actually use at their level. Surprised, she notes how crazy it is that he memorized every single magic circle. He asks if she can't draw them herself, being from such a famous family. Annoyed, she snaps that she can. Jude just smiles, clearly enjoying teasing her. He tells her to inject mana, since without her power, these are just paper. Now watch, because he's about to ask her to inject mana into these scrolls. He explains that without her power, these scrolls are currently just pieces of paper. She asks if he really expects a mage to be on the front lines. He explains his mana paths are blocked, meaning he literally cannot use magic himself. She asks if he lost the sun necklace before even using it for 10 days. Jude tells her not to be angry, promising the healing will happen eventually. He pulls mana potions and armor from his bag. He always planned this. He planned to use her as his power source, but she refuses the armor. You and I both know he planned to use her mana from the start. But she refused the heavy armor, preferring her current outfit instead for the battle. Jude Bale asks if she is nervous for her first real battle in this dungeon. She wants to be the first mage to conquer it if she wakes up later. The two advance through the humid dungeon until a disturbing noise echoes out nearby. The main character, looks toward the sound, and warns Cordelia about the danger ahead. He warns her that once they turn left, they will be attacked instantly. He tells her to prepare with a serious focus for the coming fight. With a serious look, she agrees. He's worried but committed to protecting her. Jude Bale already knows that the first goblins will have the darkness attribute. The goblins emerge ready for attack, but Jude quickly uses light to stun them. Acting like he is Ash from Pokémon, he shouts, "I choose you. Go, love." Hilariously, she plays along, imitating a Pokémon voice while launching her magic missile. She fires 4 more shots in sequence, killing the enemies with total skill. However, the noise attracts reinforcements from the next block right this second. Trust me, you and I aren't ready for the chaos coming next. All right, you and I are watching Cordelia master the Earth attribute under Jude's guidance. He tells her to stay calm, since they still have plenty of time left. She waits for the enemies to get closer, striking when they enter her sight. Suddenly, she casts a grease spell, making the ground slippery for the goblins. They fall, and she immediately uses binding magic, while Jude brings a potion. He is impressed, praising her for the perfect combo of knockdowns and bindings. That is her specialty, after all. She drinks as he plans their next move. These low-level monsters are just fuel for experience compared to the boss. Cordelia wishes she had some double experience potions to speed this process up. Damn, these boosters would be amazing right now, she mutters to herself. Now pay attention, because 5 hours later, the fatigue is finally setting in. Still in the simulation, Cordelia is completely exhausted from the non-stop fighting. Game mechanics were easy, but in real life, her legs are absolutely killing her. She regrets those flashy jumps. Jude asks if she is already feeling tired. Even with breaks, the training is long. He knows it feels heavy for her. This is her first real session, but she just thinks his attitude is irritating. Why ask the obvious? Meanwhile, she realizes how much miraculous progress they've made. Advancing this far is crazy, considering the monster levels and their varied attributes. But despite the difficulty, killing them was proving easier than she had expected. The map is a challenge, but Jude's knowledge of their weaknesses is perfect. You and I can see Jude planned every detail with flawless precision. He anticipated their every need, even offering incredible magic support along the way. Was he always a support player? She wonders what it takes to be first. He sees her complaints building up, but she knows better than to speak. He suggests a quick rest. She says she is fine despite the pain. Her feet are sore, and she feels bloated from drinking so many potions. What really annoys her is that he is still at a higher level. He keeps stealing the last hits on the monsters just to boost his stats. He teases her for being in second place again. She yells he's annoying. She checks if he is okay, but he just smiles and mentions the boss. Anyway, we should rest for a few minutes before continuing, he suggests to her. Cordelia says she is fine despite her sore feet and mana potion bloat. But other than that, she is annoyed he stole all the last hits. Besides that, she is annoyed he is a higher level by stealing kills. He saw she was upset and decided to tease her about her rank. He joked about her always being stuck in second place again, which worked. She snapped back, yelling that he was being incredibly annoying as usual. Still annoyed, she asked if he was okay. He just smiled, feeling fine. He suggested they push forward, since the boss room was finally close by. She threatened him, saying he'd regret it if the reward was total trash. Jude admitted he had never cleared this dungeon as a mage, so rewards were unknown. As they walked, Cordelia noted they had been in here for quite a while. She asked exactly how much time had passed back in the real world. She doubted that 5 full hours had actually gone by out there. And trust me, hearing it was only 20 minutes, absolute mind blow. All right, you and I are jumping into a world where time itself is a lie. This simulation dungeon runs way faster than reality, warping the flow of their seconds. Cordelia realized way too much time had passed while they were training inside here. Adalia promised to return in 30 minutes, though she was still visibly worried for them. As Cordelia questioned their safety, Jude looked up, sensing a presence nearby, staying calm. He told her not to worry. Right ahead, a massive iron gate blocked their path. It looked like a cage designed to hold the most savage monster imaginable. She stared. Feeling a bit discouraged, she couldn't believe the boss was behind that wall. She joked about the old-fashioned design before asking who they were actually about to fight. Jude replied that their target was a furious wolf imbued with the power of lightning. After fighting endless waves of goblins, she really expected a giant goblin king to appear. Instead, it was just a wolf, another monster with a completely different elemental attribute to handle. Jude Bale just gave a fake smile and started clapping like a sarcastic jerk. He called her an antisocial Yellowstorm, mocking her predictable gamer reactions. He explained this wolf wasn't just electric, it was also insanely fast and agile. They had to stay mobile. Jude reached into his bag, revealing he had one more secret. Now pay attention here, Jude is definitely hiding something big in that bag. He told her to focus on dodging and not to attack until he gave the signal. She got confused and snapped at him, accusing him of trying to steal another kill. Annoyed, she remembered how he'd poached all her kills in the last fight. While she trapped them, Jude would swoop in and finish them off for easy experience. That's how he leveled up so fast. Jude insisted this boss was a different story entirely. This wasn't a game, they might not even survive this fight without perfect teamwork. She yelled back, finally catching him in his lie about those kills. Is it really that different from an enraged wolf? She sensed his serious tone. He crouched down, ignoring her questions as he started pulling items out of his bag. He grabbed several magic scrolls, preparing a complex strategy while Cordelia watched in silence. It wasn't about strength. He pulled out more scrolls, looking ready for war. He had a mysterious pouch in his hand, needing a moment to set everything up. Finally, the doors opened. They stepped into the chamber and faced the dungeon boss. And let me tell you, this wolf looks way more terrifying than we expected. Greenish fur, bristled with lightning symbols, glowing brightly across its massive, muscular forehead. The level 17 beast released a crushing pressure, making the air feel heavy. It locked eyes with Jude Bale, picking him out as its very first target. Cordelia teased him, saying the puppy recognized its own kind. Jude just told her to shut it as the wolf lowered its head to charge. The tension reached its breaking point as the predator lunged forward with blinding speed. The battle was finally on. Cordelia shouted for him to get ready to move. Meanwhile, Jude tracked every single muscle twitch, analyzing the beast's pattern perfectly. The monster closed the gap instantly. They both leaped aside, barely dodging the strike. Jude shouted her name, the signal for her to finally trigger their trap. She smiled, knowing exactly how to handle these linear-thinking wolves. Time to lock it down. She channeled her mana and unleashed a powerful binding spell directly at the wolf. Eat this, take these 2 restrictions. Dual prison, the beast is trapped, and trust me, you and I are gonna love this. Quickly, before it has time to react, our main character casts another spell. This time, it's a slippery liquid that keeps it down. Stick with me, this gets wild. That wolf's speed is a major problem, but its patterns are actually super predictable. Totally readable. If she can just lock its legs down, the kill should be easy. But there's a catch. Because of the massive level gap, her items won't last long. That bind will break fast. Every second they waste puts them in more danger. Things are looking bad. That wolf is already starting to snap out of it. She signals the main character. He's got to finish his preparations right now. Jude grabs the scrolls, telling her the real show is finally about to begin. With a single motion, he calls down the thunder. Bolt after bolt strikes. He hits the boss directly. Cordelia is livid. Like, why is he attacking? He told her to hold back, but now he's just blasting away. Something is off. Now pay attention. Why is he using lightning? Jude shouts a warning to her. The wolf just shattered its chains and it's charging straight for her. Move. The beast realizes she's the biggest threat and wants her dead first. But she's too quick, dodging as the boss slams hard into the wall. Cordelia stares at Jude. This whole situation is feeling way too weird for her. He was definitely hitting the wolf directly, so why isn't it taking any damage? Nothing, not even a scratch, and she gets this gut feeling that things are bad. That sinking feeling has been there for a while the monster recovers. Jude turns to her and says they're still missing one crucial ingredient. She's confused, asking what. He tells her to blast it with water magic now. She says she can do that. She grips a blue magic stone tight. The spell lands. Water douses the furious wolf as it lets out a roar. Jude shouts that it's time for more lightning. He tosses another bolt at it. He's actually getting hyped, saying this combo is going to work way better. You and I know that look. Jude is definitely cooking something insane here. Cordelia just watches him, totally annoyed that he's having so much fun by himself. Still not enough for Jude. He sends another massive lightning strike flying. The spells keep raining down on the wolf, but Cordelia is getting anxious. Something is wrong. She feels like Imagine Dragon's thunder is whispering in her ear. What does it mean? Is it the song? Combat continues as lightning bolts strike. Is it the song? Combat continues as lightning bolts flash across the battlefield. She's still questioning him, like, what does he mean by thunder? Then it clicks. She remembers what they talked about before entering. Jude doesn't just have lightning powers, he's also insanely fast on his feet. Her eyes go wide as she realizes the truth. Wait a second. Hold on a damn second. Are we hitting a lightning attribute wolf with lightning bolts? She spins around and screams at Jude, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" But before she can finish, a terrifying, monstrous voice echoes through the room. A terrifying, monstrous voice echoes. She looks at the scene and realizes everything. You can't just hit a lightning monster with its own element. It's useless. All those attacks, they aren't hurting it, they're just fueling its inner power. And that's where we see it, the absolute nightmare scenario you and I feared. The wolf is absorbing every single bolt. It's getting stronger. All right, stick with me. We are witnessing this beast reach its terrifying true form. Jude snaps his fingers, shouting bingo. He is finally awakened. Cordelia is fuming. You jerk, making the boss stronger was your plan. He explains that an awakened wolf is the key to that rank B skill book. Even more annoyed, she snaps, you should have told me that sooner. Jude just grins, saying it would have ruined all the surprise and fun. Cordelia glares, realizing he is actually being dead serious right now. He hands over more magic circles, ready to finally end this fight. Pure rage, she snatches the circles right out of his hands forcefully. She rips the scroll apart, leaving Jude absolutely stunned and speechless. She strikes a sassy pose while the boss eats a spell behind her. Then she gives him a look that clearly screams, I am going to kill you. While the beast recovers, Jude promises he will keep her in the loop. Cordelia just fires back that she absolutely hates his guts right now. Jude sighs, fair enough, but we are kind of screwed, so scold me later. He locks onto the monster, shouting a warning, incoming, here he comes. The wolf charges at full speed, while Jude and Cordelia prepare themselves. Furious wolves and other types share a very specific and dangerous characteristic. Powerful leg strength lets them launch forward exactly like a deadly bullet. Since the trajectory is simple, you can dodge if you time it right. Regardless of level, good control makes this monster a piece of cake. But Cordelia and Jude forgot that a game and real life are different. Stick with me, this is where the battle takes a really wild turn. The wolf lunges at the wall and uses it to suddenly change direction. Jude screams for her to dodge, and she barely manages to escape. Shaken, Cordelia tries to process exactly what just happened before her eyes. The beast used the pillar for support in a brand new movement pattern. It is adapting because it ranked up, all thanks to Jude's insane plan. She analyzes every move, trying to predict which pillar it will hit next. She tracks it with her eyes, praying she can avoid the damage. While she is focused on the battle, Jude suddenly collapses to the ground. All his magic scrolls scatter as Cordelia looks back in total shock. You and I can see it too, this is a total disaster. Why did he fall? Was it a sudden blockage in his yin paths? Why now? The wolf seizes the opening that has just appeared. It uses the pillars as support to reach Jude in a heartbeat. This is a lethal opportunity that the monster definitely will not miss. Cordelia fires magic arrows at the beast, yelling for Jude to be careful. But as the attacks close in, a barrier appears and blocks everything. She is perplexed. The beast just nullified her magic like it was nothing. Enveloped in a green aura and lightning, it advances on Jude now. He is still on the ground as the monster prepares to strike. Cordelia is desperate, and images of their past moments flash by. She has to move now, or their shared adventure ends here. Stay with me. Will she reach him before the wolf lands the final blow? All right, stick with me through these epic, shared moments of camaraderie and brutal side-by-side battles. Even if Jude was annoying, she didn't want him dead, but the wolf was just too fast. There was no way to stop it. Desperate, she screamed his name as the monster lunged. Suddenly, a howl of pain cut through the air. She froze, completely confused by the sound. The beast was rolling on the ground, roaring in agony and thrashing around like a maniac. It was trying to cover its nose at all costs. Then, a revolting smell hit them. Gagging, she asked Jude what happened. "Wait, did you actually just crap yourself?" she asked him. "No, you idiot," Jude snapped back. "Don't you know dogs have an elite sense of smell? This beast has a nose 1,000 times better than ours. It can't handle a stench. There is absolutely no way its supernatural senses can handle the disgusting bomb I just unleashed." He was holding a custom-made aroma bomb, a nasty little toy he'd fused from several items. He explained that simply grinding goblins would never give him enough power to win a fair fight. Facing this monster traditionally was a death sentence. He needed a much dirtier plan to survive. So he crafted a little trick to neutralize it. Now pay attention, this part is important. In reality, you don't play fair. You always save your secret ace for the very end. When he said that, Cordelia was fuming. She had used her best move right at the start. Seeing Jude look so smug, while she felt like a total rookie, was just absolutely infuriating. But her rage faded when she saw him looking pathetic, also suffering from his own invention. The guy was literally turning green from the smell. Guess his victory came at a gross price. Wiping his face, he just told her that a simple solution is all you really need. Results were everything to an antisocial gamer like him. Methods didn't matter one bit. To his surprise, Cordelia nodded in agreement. She was actually impressed by his cold, ruthless logic. Turns out, she was also an antisocial gamer who valued the final outcome over being honorable. Now they just had to finish it. The wolf couldn't even stand because of the toxic stench. The main character pulled out a green magic stone, smiling like a doctor about to give a shot. "Time for your medicine, bad wolf," she yelled, triggering a powerful earth spell to trap the beast. A pit opened up and the monster fell right in. She kept digging the hole even deeper. Jude watched her and joked that she looked just like a Pokémon Dugtrio while she worked. She snapped back at him, calling him a total dork as her face turned red from embarrassment. "Stop it, how embarrassing for anyone watching us right now. Trust me, this next part is pure satisfaction." They both threw their scrolls into the deep pit. As it exploded, Jude shielded Cordelia from the blast. She felt totally flustered and lost for a second. She had completely forgotten that this was just a simulation. She felt so stupid for being worried. She remembered that dying here just meant being kicked out of the simulation. All that worry was for nothing. Suddenly, a magic window appeared right in front of their eyes. A notice appeared, informing them they earned the Wolf Slayer title. She was shocked. This really felt just like playing a game. Titles and experience were everywhere. Then, another message popped up with even better news for them. Another alert appeared, informing them that their attributes were increasing. All their attributes were now permanently boosted by a full point. "Did you hear that sound?" she asked. He joked it sounded like a phone ringing in his head. She laughed, happy to get a title. Jude was just relieved she was in a good mood. If she stayed happy, she might forget that he lured the wolf over without a single warning. He sneaked away quietly, admitting to himself that her instincts about him were probably totally right. And that is where we leave them, trust me, he will pay for this later. "All right, you and I are about to witness the spoils of war." Suddenly, she casts a slippery spell. Jude falls flat on his face. She growls, "Listen up, always warn me before waking a boss. Got it?" He quickly promises she is right, he will give her a heads up. Jude gets up, dusting himself off. He kept one secret to himself. He fell on purpose to lure the wolf away from her. Then they look up. 2 skill books are floating in the hall. They reach out, and the books fly towards their new owners. Cordelia hugs her book, overjoyed. She absolutely loves opening loot. The mystery of the drop always gives her a massive rush. Jude agrees. His item, a technique called 36 Heavenly Steps. She recognizes it as the base for the Divine Lightning Steps. Jude is stunned she knows that. It was top-tier secret info. He explains the lightning steps are just the 3rd evolution stage. First are celestial steps, then the 24 storm steps follow. After those come the lightning steps, but the final form. The 9 heavenly concealment steps, it lets you hide from heaven. Even after 10 years, Jude never reached that ultimate peak. The final form is known as the 9 heavenly concealment steps. Now pay attention here, this move lets you hide from the heavens themselves. Cordelia interrupts his thoughts, wanting an item he has never even seen. Seeing her so hyped, Jude smiles as she opens her book. It is Fire Mo, a rank B skill. She is absolutely ecstatic. She is thrilled with such a rare pull and thanks him warmly. She is glowing with excitement. Jude sits down, feeling totally drained. He suggests heading back, but they both need a quick break. Cordelia notes his sun necklace is working. He has not collapsed yet. He smiles. Of course, it is a gift from someone very special. She tells him to cut the sappy talk. They are level 10. His health is returning. Next stage, she asks him with a grin. You mean that one, he says. They shout it together. His 9 paths are healing, and their power is finally growing. She suggests moving to the next stage. Do you mean that specific one? They both shout it at the same time, the demonic hand invasion. Jude jokes that only a nerd would have that answer ready. Now pay attention, things are about to get really, really intense. She snaps back, that's my line, every character has a scenario. In this game, the end of the world is a very recurring theme. But fans agree Cordelia's scenario showed the developer's dark side. Her tale is known as the cruelest path in the game. Her story began with a journey to a friendly gathering. She had to meet 12 noble children from the northern clans. For reference, Jude's own story does not even start for 6 months. It all began with a peaceful tutorial at the mansion. And trust me, you and I are going to love this part. You and I are about to uncover hidden events that change everything. On the day of the massive social gathering, total chaos erupts instantly. The peaceful party turns into a bloodbath thanks to the cult called Demonic Hand. We're talking deaths, kidnappings, and children being brainwashed, the worst possible scenario. In the middle of the madness, Cordelia barely makes it out alive. But she loses her guards, her family, and the friends she finally reunited with. It's a living hell that leaves her completely alone and broken. After a desperate escape, she finds herself isolated in the middle of nowhere. In the game, this was a forced event, 0 chance to skip it. Players on the forums were obsessed with Cordelia's route, talking about how brutal it was. One user mentioned testing her out and loving how fragile her character felt. The community was hooked on the difficulty and the pure emotional weight. Now, check this out. Our main character has exactly 15 days until the attack. He knows the demon hand is coming for that social gathering. According to the lore, Cordelia is the only one who survives that massacre. But he's done following a doomed script and vows to rewrite her fate. Cordelia is all in, knowing the game's path only leads to an Armageddon ending. She wants a real happy ending, and that starts by crushing the cult first. Jude agrees, they need every bit of strength they can get right now. Losing the 12 northern clans as allies simply isn't an option. But more importantly, the main character is determined to protect a dear friend. He won't let Dahlia be sacrificed just so Cordelia can survive this time. Cordelia might have her Earth memories back, but those game memories are still vivid. She remembers every second of Legends of Heroes 2, the growth and the struggle. To her, Dahlia isn't just a guard, she's a sister. These memories are like a terrifying spoiler of how she'll lose her whole family. Wait for it, Jude realizes that Cordelia carries more pain than anyone else here. The weight of the violence in her past lives is almost too much. He still sees that legendary fighter, Yellowstorm, but he knows she's just Cordelia. Pure and simple. She speaks up, noting that originally, Jude couldn't even attend the big meeting. His 9 blocked yin pathways were supposed to keep him bedridden. But things are different now, and thanks to the sun's necklace, he's getting stronger. Feeling a bit shy, Cordelia asks him a very important question. Since he's feeling better, she wants to know if he'll accompany her to the gathering. Jude is stunned. This scenario literally never happened in the original game. There was 0 chance for him to join the 12 northern clans before. But that's why he pushed his treatment so hard to change this story. He finally broke the doomed narrative. He gives her a confident smile, saying he'll go anywhere his dear Cordelia wants. She tells him to cut the cheesy talk because it's giving her goosebumps. Back at the mansion, Jude is absolutely wiped out. He's hitting the training grounds hard, pushing through 10 brutal laps every single morning. Exhausted, he finishes, "Trust me, the real grind starts now." His mentor, Vader Cromwell, watches as our hero pushes his limits. "All right, stick with me, because we're about to watch a weak kid become legendary." He finally broke his record, and his stamina is increasing more and more every single day. Our main character will finally learn the Bale family's martial arts once the Count returns. Ver looked at Jude with pride, but there was definitely some worry there too. No reason to be frustrated for starting late. You've got talent, young master. You'll be able to make up for that late start in no time. You get me, master? Our hero nodded, promising to keep those encouraging words close to his heart. Ver recalled how the young master suffered for years because of those 9 blocked yin pathways. Who would have thought he'd evolve this much, growing stronger by the minute? Truly the blessing of the family. The night was practically tearing up now. He wished the Count would hurry home to see his son's valiant face soon. Jude just grinned, happy that he was officially a martial arts genius now. Now pay attention, because a sudden shriek just ripped right through the air. Maya, his personal maid, came sprinting toward them with a look of pure shock. He turned to her, worried, asking what on earth could have happened to her. She stopped in front of him, gasping, struggling to find her breath. She managed to say that a letter from Chase County had just arrived for him. Ver asked if Cordelia sent it, but Maya just shook her head no, it's bigger. It wasn't from his girl. It was from her father, the powerful Count Arthur Chase. Jude's blood ran cold. The man was summoning him for a serious talk. Next thing we know, he's at Chase County with its massive, majestic gates. He was still processing the news, wondering how things got this far. The letter said he needed to visit and discuss his recent encounters with Cordelia. He was so nervous, he could barely remember the actual trip there. You saw that too, right? Meeting the father-in-law is a different kind of boss battle. The intensity of it all was overwhelming. He feared he might actually pass out right there. He wondered what the Count was like. Cordelia said he was an idiot. As he walked to the hall, he scrambled for reasons for the summons. Maybe the Count wanted an explanation for why he'd run off with Cordelia. Or about that secret temple rendezvous right after her house arrest ended. Lost in thought, he barely registered Maya calling his name from right beside him. He blinked, snapped back to reality, and finally gave the girl an actual answer. Maya tried to calm him down, saying there was no need to worry. Their engagement was official, and both families had already agreed to it. A little rule-breaking shouldn't be a problem, but even her voice was trembling. Jude tried to reassure himself. Maya was right, he needed to breathe. The Count just wanted to meet the man marrying his daughter, right? Still, facing his future father-in-law sent him into a full-scale panic. His hands were sweating, and his mind was spinning with anxious thoughts. This is worse than any training. What the hell is this? Jude thought. He learned those curse words from Cordelia, of course. Bad habits die hard. Suddenly, a voice snapped him out of it. It was the guard, Dahlia. She was right in front of them, ready to escort them inside. Jude's heart was pounding as he stepped into the lion's den. And that's where we leave it. Trust me, you'll want to see this. All right, you and I are about to see Jude face his nightmare. Dahlia says Cordelia has no idea the Count called for him yet. Our main character hates that. He has zero time to prepare a plan. The guard knocks and announces that young Master Jude has finally arrived. The Count tells him to enter. Dahlia opens the door and tells him to come in immediately. He takes a breath and walks toward the room with shaky steps. This is easily the toughest boss fight he has ever faced. Meanwhile, at a distant camp, a young warrior feels the cold. Monsters are appearing more often now, which is a very bad sign. He hopes the city stays safe from any major damage. Meet Alex Bale, Jude's father and a top 10 swordsman in the kingdom. He explains that is exactly why they are on this expedition now. They need to defeat as many monsters as possible before returning home. His son asks what kind of letter he is reading so intently. It is a letter from Victor that just arrived, Alex tells him. The son gets worried and asks if everything is okay back home. It is about Jude. He is healthier and ready for martial arts. Have his 9 blocked yin pathways finally been healed? Not fully, Alex says, but he is slowly recovering. That sun necklace he and Cordelia found is doing wonders for him. You and I both know meeting Cordelia was his lucky break. Alex smiles, knowing Arthur would be happy to hear that as well. His son asks if they have rested long enough to move out. Alex says not to push the men past their absolute limits today. The young man understands, but wants to see a healthy Jude sooner. This is Gale Bale, the heir to the family and Jude's brother. Back at the study, Jude is facing a true monster. All the training from the necklace feels like it just vanished. A cold chill runs down his spine, hardening his entire body. It reminds him of the time he stood before the Lizigan. Arthur Chase and Alex Bale are part of the 4 northern powerhouses. They are the legends behind the group, known as Crimson Storm. Arthur is one of the most powerful mages around. His daughter is Yellowstorm, a legendary figure from the original game. In the original story, Count Chase had no reason to meet Jude. Jude was too weak back then, so the 2 families drifted apart. The engagement would have been canceled after Cordelia ran away. Jude sips his tea, thinking about how much things have changed. But the tea is way too sweet. Why would it taste like this? Was it the maid's mistake, or was this done on purpose? Arthur Chase finally speaks, saying he has heard stories about the boy. Now stick with me, this is about to get intense. He thinks kneeling is his best move. The Count looks at him. Stick with me, you and I are about to see Jude land a massive opportunity. The main character finally understands the plan and gives a simple nod. He hands over the sun necklace, telling his father-in-law how lucky he was to find it. Arthur takes the necklace, his eyes instantly locking onto the glowing jewel. He calls it a unique relic, the greatest treasure of the religious order. Just holding it, he can feel intense yang energy surging through his palm. Jude starts to worry. Is Arthur only interested in him because of the necklace? He wonders if this meeting was just a setup to get the treasure. Arthur notes that this much energy makes almost any other item look useless. Our hero is confused, but Arthur explains he actually brought him here to give him something. He reaches for a small box and sets it right on the table. It is not the main event, he says, but it should definitely help out. Jude gives his thanks and slowly reaches out to see what is inside. Pay attention here, because when he opens that box, his jaw hits the floor. It is an exotic yang pill, packed with power to heal his blocked yin pathways. He is in total shock. This gift is honestly almost too good to be true. Arthur interrupts his thoughts, saying he heard a very interesting story lately. He asks if it is true that Princess Cordelia literally carried Jude and jumped off a cliff. Jude stammers out a yes, feeling the heat rise to his face. He keeps quiet about the fact that she gave him a piggyback ride, too. The Count looks visibly annoyed and calls Jude a total weakling for it. He tells him to eat these fruits to build some actual muscle for once. Since weak mages cannot even hold their staves, Jude needs them more. You saw that, right? That is not just a father-in-law, that is a real dad. Jude looks at the fruits carefully the moment he takes the box. It contains 2 grape-like fruits that provide a massive boost to physical strength. Jude is stunned again. These are actual strength fruits in his hands. You almost never see these in the early game, yet the Count just gave them away. Meanwhile, Arthur warns him that the pill and the fruit have a bitter taste. He advises Jude to wash them down with some tea to handle the flavor. Suddenly, Jude realizes why the tea Arthur served him earlier was so sweet. Now, switching scenes to another part of the mansion. Cordelia finally wakes up in her room, stretching out on her bed. She mumbles about how much she slept, yet she still feels completely drained. She wonders why sleeping more just makes her feel even more tired. Back in the hall, Jude is still trying to process Arthur's kindness. He received a legendary pill and strength fruits without even asking for them. He starts to realize that the Count might actually really like him. Arthur looks over and asks why Jude is still wearing that specific ring. Jude looks at his hand and explains it as a cherished gift from the Count. Because of that, he makes sure to never take it off. The real reason they are together is because both Counts are lifelong friends. That is why they arranged this marriage between their families long ago. Since they were forced into this without consent, things have been strange. Let us see what happens next. All right, you and I are diving into the lives of the most awkward noble couple ever. Count Arthur, with a freezing voice, ordered him to just throw that ring away. A nervous Jude asked the Count exactly why he was telling him to do that. He replied that his son-in-law was the only one actually wearing the ring right now. Our main character realized something. He had never once seen Cordelia wearing her own ring. So it was true, he really was the only one still wearing it. Arthur told him she had lost it, but he acted like it was no big deal. He would just have new ones made for both of them anyway, so it was fine. Jude did not need to worry and could just throw the ring away. Jude figured she probably just chucked it in the trash instead of losing it. Why marry someone like Outboxer? He knew that would be her exact reaction. Now pay attention here, because this is where Jude starts overthinking the Count. He had been nervous for nothing. This man just could not be honest with himself. It was pretty obvious now, like father, like daughter, through and through. As Jude finally prepared to leave, the Count brought up the upcoming social event. He heard that Jude would be joining Cordelia at the big social gathering soon. Our hero respectfully said yes and called him his father-in-law for the first time. The Count was clearly shocked. He let out a small cough to clear his throat. He doubted Jude could handle such a long journey with such a weak body. He definitely needed more stamina if he wanted to travel that far. You and I both know what that means. It is power-up time, baby. The Count finally handed over the legendary stamina fruit. A very happy Jude replied, "Thank you so much, father-in-law." After a while, the Count said that was all and dismissed him for today. Jude walked away with several super valuable gifts from the old man. Our hero said his final goodbyes to his new father-in-law. As he finally left, Jude felt totally stuffed yet incredibly refreshed. Suddenly, Cordelia called out to him. She had finally made it back. She was frustrated with his attitude. Why did he not tell her he was coming? He explained it was a sudden summons and nothing serious had really happened. Why would my father call you if nothing was happening? She argued, worried. Jude noticed the maids were eavesdropping, so he quickly changed the subject. He mentioned that the mansion garden was looking absolutely beautiful today. She was just annoyed now, asking what the hell he was talking about. He just smiled and suggested they take a nice walk in the garden. As they walked, Cordelia demanded to know why her father gave him items. Jude joked that the Count wanted him to be strong enough to carry her. She made a face and said she could walk on her own 2 feet. He teased that Count Chase knew about their little escape in the flower field. That was why he used the word carry. She grumbled about his bad timing. She had worried for nothing. Jude reflected on how similar they both were, especially the way both father and daughter made faces when they were displeased. The word carry, she grumbled that he should have said that from the beginning. She worried for nothing. Jude reflected on how similar the father and trust me, seeing those two act exactly alike is the highlight of our day. All right, you and I are diving into a world where even dinner is a battle. Our hero walked downstairs, feeling absolutely stuffed after a massive, forced feast. He felt like he might explode. Cordelia just teased him about his situation. She reminded him of when she had to chug mana potions back then. Suddenly, she noticed a change: his healthy face and lack of dark circles. It meant his 9 blocked yin paths were finally starting to improve. He didn't expect her to be so observant. Things suddenly felt a bit awkward. She was standing way too close, so he quickly changed the subject. He mentioned that Count Bale, her father, should be back in 10 days. Cordelia realized it was time to prepare for her father's upcoming test.